Right, so what we need to do here to carve these is, they're quite smooth, so we're going to need to do a scratch coat. We'll probably do that with a mortar sprayer, and we'll probably, it's already been wetted down, but we'll probably knock off some of these edges here with a hammer. Concrete carving doesn't really like corners like this, so we will just knock the edges off, and I don't know, maybe put a bit of a key into here, but it should be quite good. The mortar sprayer is very, very good way of getting your initial coat on there, so we'll show you that. Right, so there we go, all the edges have been knocked off there. All the edges have been knocked off, it's all been nicely wet down. So in 20 minutes we'll be applying a scratch coat to that, and we'll use a mortar sprayer. It's a lot quicker. Yep, that mix looks good, so here we go. Right, so we've got the mortar sprayer, and always make sure you get it in water beforehand. Give it make sure it's always cleaned well as well after you use it. It will last a long time. This is actually a cheap one. It cost about, I don't know, about 60 bucks or something like that. It's from China, and it works just as well as the ones that cost 250 bucks. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. I'll do an actual video on mortar sprayers and also compressors. There's a lot of myths out about compressor sizes and stuff like that, but basically unless you're spraying onto something like a ceiling, you don't need a big compressor. Your small compressor is just as good, but I will do a video on that. Okay, so let's get started. Okay. Right, so as you can see, we've got the first scratch coat on here. This is gonna be very nice when we get the second coat on. We might even do a third coat on this as well to get some really deep carves in the lines, which will separate the blocks. But yeah, it's going to be very nice when it's done. So keep watching. Okay, so now we've got the first scratch coat on, and we've just put some lines in just to give us an idea of where we're going to have the lines afterwards, the cutting between the blocks. I think that what we've decided there is probably going to look nice. So yeah, they're going to be like substantial sized blocks when everything's done. So we'll do the next stage in a sec. We haven't yet decided whether we're going to go for this rough look for these, or if we're going to smooth them out a bit. Not sure yet. We might go for this rough look for these actual columns, and then the wall here will be a not so rough. But yeah, the columns, these columns, yeah, we might do them rough. We just got to do the second coat, maybe even a third coat yet. Okay, so this is now the next day, and you see we've got the divisions between the blocks bigger. We've also got some faux cracks there that we put in which will open up even further as this dries. It's looking quite good. We'll actually, as this dries, we'll go over and we'll knock these edges off where you get places that are sticking out a bit too much. So we'll just knock them down before it completely dries, and then once it's dry we'll actually be going over this and smoothing it down with tools. So not completely, we want to keep the rough look to it, but there's still a lot to do. Like, we'll open these cracks more as it's drying, so but it's starting to take shape. We decided to, you've probably noticed, we decided to take out these to the side here, make these blocks, so it's like 4 blocks but 2 of them extend, which makes it more natural way that you would actually build a wall like this, a gate post. But yeah, it's starting to take shape, so keep watching. Right, so because this has 2 coats on it, a scratch coat and a top coat, we decided to go for 2 rather than 3. We need to make these cracks more exaggerated, and the way to do that is, because this is still soft inside, we can actually start using a tool, taking away those cracks, opening it up, taking it to the back, and obviously the more that is taken in, the more it's going to look like real rocks. Okay, so we take this away, you know, taking it out like that, and it takes some time, but it's certainly worth doing. It's still soft, so it can be done. That's a good thing working with lime. It takes longer to completely cure, so it gives you a lot of time. It will start to look really, really good, so keep watching. Okay, so now we're doing the smoothing process, which is, you see these are very rough. It's kind of rough, you know, you get like the stones from the crushed stone that are sticking out. Well, what we need to do, we need to start hitting that with a wire brush and kind of smoothing it out, you know, and the edges and things like that, you know, make those edges a little bit softer. This will all work out in the end, and it will give it a really nice limestone, sandstone kind of texture. So we're basically just hitting these where it sticks out too much from when it was sprayed on, and softening. It's basically softening. It's not smoothing, it's just softening the stone, softening the texture. You know, we've still got like the hills and the valleys of the stone, where you can see it's, you know, it's somebody looking at that, they'll be there, oh yeah, it's definitely real stone. But we just need to soften it out, and as we soften, it really starts to take shape, just like this. You see what I was talking about earlier with the lines. I've taken some of that out there, probably take some more of that out, but you see how that being taken out has given the whole division between those two blocks a really natural and believable look. So always make sure wire brush, when it's soft enough that you can scrape it without really damaging it, that's the time to do it. And just soften the outside, just soften and soften, and the effect in the end will be out of this world. It really is worth putting in the work to do this. So I highly recommend using the wire brush and softening it out when it can be softened without damaging. Morning everyone. Right, we're on to the third day now. Well, this is drying. It's very, well, not completely dry, but it's a lot drier than it was. So now that it's got this firmness, just need to start going into the faux cracks here and just flick with the trowel, just kind of flick any debris out of there, give it a bit, just clean out these holes, these cracks, just give it a bit more. It's basically just cleaning it out, you know. It's just a flick, kind of just cleaning it out, and this will all add to the realism of the cracks. Just makes it look a lot more realistic. So you just go around like that. I'll be doing the whole thing, but as you can see there, the project is really taking shape. You know, what was essentially just a very basic wall has now been turned into something quite good. We'll also on the next stage we'll be adding some colour to this when it's fully dried out. It's still not fully dried out yet, but and I also will be wetting this down again. For the first 2 days you should really wet down, so I'll just do it one more time and then I'm going to let it dry out completely. Once it's completely dry, then I will add to the I will add pigments, and the pigments will give it some nice colour. We'll just, you know, we'll make it more like this kind of, thing here. You know, we'll give it some nice shading. Just put some yellows in there, some reds, give it a nice subtle shading. It should look nice. Okay, right, so while the first one completely dries there, I'll do some more work on this second one here. As you can see, the lines were put in yesterday while it was still wet. You know, just putting the lines in like that, these cracks. How well you can see that, some of them were done quite deep. You know, we would just to open them up when it was wet, when the mix was wet, about an hour after being applied. And also when it was wet, we used one of these tools here that you can get in hardware stores for working with mortar between bricks. We just put the indentation of the line between the stones in, and we will actually, today we will start to eat away at this, make this deeper in here. It's a simple process, but we will make this much deeper here to give a real division between the blocks. But we'll just eat away at this. I'll do that today. Also, what needs to be done is using the wire brush onto this rough texture and softly smoothing it out. Not smoothing it out, but making it softer, making it's kind of knocking off the very rough parts. It knocks them off, because this mix was only applied yesterday, so it's still able to be worked, you know. So we can just go around. I'll do the whole thing, but yeah, it's just smoothing it, or making the whole thing softer. You know, it would probably, for the post this size, it will probably take about maybe half an hour, something like that, to completely soften it. And then this part here, with making all of this deeper on this whole gatepost, probably about 15 minutes it would take me, something like that. As for the fake fractures, because this is still soft, it's still curing, so I won't actually be touching them yet, because they're still fragile. So, but I will tomorrow or the next day, I will start getting into here and flicking out material, cleaning the inside of those cracks, and that will make these cracks a lot more believable. Okay, so the next video will be applying the pigment to this one here, which is finished, apart from the adding of the colour. So that will be the next video. Okay, bye bye.